G'day, my name's Geoff Merrill and I'm a winemaker and owner of Mount Hurdle Winery at McLaren Vale, South Australia. The BMW wines are a cooperation, I suppose, or an intimidation, or more like it, from Ian Botham, particularly about a range of wines that he and Bob and I have always talked about. Our love and interests are shared in both cricket and wine, and during a tour of Australia in 2002, they demanded that I produce wines in a range for them. At the time, they both loved Chardonnay, and they both had an equal love and respect for Cabernet and Shiraz. So that's what we did. And the first wine release was 2001 Shiraz and Cabernet, and now we're currently on 2008 Shiraz and Cabernet and 2010 Chardonnay. I'm tasting through a couple of wines in our portfolio in the BMW range. BMW range is an upmarket range of McLaren Vale wines made from Chardonnay, Shiraz and Cabernet Sauvignon. The Chardonnay today that we're tasting is 2010 and the two reds are both from 2008. I'll now talk you through these three wines. The 2010 Chardonnay, the objective of this wine was to make wines with a lot less oak than we have in other wines in our portfolio. This one has got is a combination of McLaren Vale, predominantly McLaren Vale in fact, but looking for McLaren Vale with that more peachy type aroma, the aromatic, the oak, which is all French oak. It comes from Allier Vosges and Tronçais in 300 litre barrels. The barrel, 20% of this wine is barrel fermented, 30% of it is in 1 year old oak, and then the balance is in brand new oak. These wines have this fantastic nuttiness which I love from the oak, and they can be drunk as an aperitif wine or they can be drunk a lot with food. To me, the essential ingredient of this wine is the acid, the balance of fruit flavour and acid. The acid lifts the wine. It's not Chablis in style as we know it from the great areas of Burgundy, or white Burgundy styles, but it has an elegance and structure and flavour about it that I think lends itself to a great flavoured drink. And you can drink this with a little bit of less than, I recommend it around about 13 to 14 degrees Celsius, which means taking it out of a domestic fridge and letting it warm up a bit. And I think you'll enjoy this one. It'll go with a range of foods, from poultry, fish, Asian foods, which I particularly love, Chinese food, Cantonese food. It goes with a mixture of those foods, particularly seafoods. But this is a wine that can be enjoyed throughout all courses of the meal, and also well before it. And if you're having a lazy Sunday afternoon, you can drink it all day. Cheers. Today we have the 2008 Shiraz from McLaren Vale, 100% McLaren Vale fruit. This wine, 2008, was a vintage in Australia where we had a concentrated fortnight of quite high heat. And we're very lucky at our vineyard in McLaren Vale at Wickham Estate, where a lot of this fruit came from, we didn't have any effect from that heat. And in fact, I think we've produced some absolutely outstanding wines out of 2008. Typical of McLaren Vale Shiraz, you get that white pepper, almost licorice character, which I think is the trademark of the wines we make. We don't go for excessively high alcohol wines. We look for wines that are in the range of 14 to 14.5 by volume alcohol, which gives the wines a degree of elegance and fruit flavours. The Shirazes are all aged in French oak, in 1 year old oak and 2 and 3 year old oak, and this gives it a chance, particularly with white pepper characters in Shiraz, for the wine to settle down and that the flavours of the fruit come forward first rather than the oak aromatics. This wine to me is typical of all those things I just said, but most particularly of white pepper. Again, one of the important ingredients, as it is with the Chardonnay and is with the Cabernet Sauvignon, is the acidity of these wines. These wines will last for a very long time. They will bottle age perfectly well. because they do have great acidity, and that's the strength of these wines, is the acidity and fruit flavours. Once again, this wine, to me, will be happily being drunk again in another 10 years. The Cabernet Sauvignon, which is, in my opinion, the king of all grapes, and the reason that I use a portion of our Coonawarra vineyard in this is because it gives the wine that complexity of fruit flavour that doesn't always happen in McLaren Vale. McLaren Vale produces more chocolate type Cabernet characters, where Coonawarra gives us mint and herbaceous fruit characters, not dissimilar to the characters that you will get in Bordeaux. I've stood in Bordeaux vineyards before and closed my eyes and felt that I was in Coonawarra. So with a mixture of Coonawarra and McLaren Vale, we get those wonderful complexity of the fruit character. Of course, the tannin structure is a little bit stronger, as you'd expect, from Cabernet, smaller bunches than they are in Shiraz, so the wine is a little bit stronger. All my wines, both white and red, are fermented to complete dryness. So you will, there is no residual sugar, so the tannin can be accentuated slightly. With Cabernet Sauvignon, we use American oak, because I do like the way American oak settles down. It gives that cigar and cedar character from the oak, which I think is an absolute perfect combination for Cabernet Sauvignon. This wine does have that herbaceous fruit character, and the tannin structure is terrific. And once again, it's a great drink. This is a great food wine, as is a Shiraz. I'd like to see Cabernet with lamb-style dishes because it cuts through the fat better, but it will also go with poultries. I think the Shiraz is a great accompaniment to a decent steak, and offal and duck. Roast duck is wonderful with Shiraz. So I'd just like to recommend these three wines to you, and you'd do yourself a lot less harm by having a try. Cheers.